Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play Dawn of Andromeda. Dawn of Andromeda is a brand new, real-time, pausable 4X strategy title from Grey Wolf Entertainment and published by Iceberg Interactive. Early access to the game began on December 1st and is planned to continue through roughly February. Very interestingly, the developers have noted that the game is mostly feature complete, and early access will be used, as it usually is, for fine-tuning and pre-launch player feedback. But again, very interesting that they've noted that a lot of the core features are already there the moment early access began. So it'll be very interesting to see how the game looks as we dive in here. If you'd like to see how the game's looking, this is the first in a 5-part miniseries airing over the next few days, with a new episode every other day. Just bear in mind that this is indeed early access footage, so nothing you see here is necessarily going to be at all representative of the final product. And not only is this early access footage, but it's footage that's being recorded as of the launch of early access. Literally a day after is when the first episode aired. So, this is a space-based 4X, and to me, what's exciting about it is that it feels a lot like Master of Orion, Sins of a Solar Empire, and Crusader Kings 2. Somehow all three produced a child. At first glance, you might think the game looks a lot like Master of Orion Conquer the Stars, but remember, this is a real-time strategy game, so it's a bit more like Sins of a Solar Empire in that way. But then when you recognize how they've emphasized that it's a pausable real-time strategy game, and they've incorporated governments and political characters with their own agendas and personalities, then there's a decidedly Paradox-esque feel to certain elements of the game as well, which is pretty cool. My initial impressions of the game is that it's a promising start, with some rough edges, as you'd expect from a title that's just launched into early access, but I haven't played that much at all, and that's by design. So I'll talk more about my first thoughts and impressions as we dive in. That's enough of a primer. Let's go ahead and just start a new game. I think what I want to do, as you can see, there's this option for choosing an era. Don't even know what that means. What I want to do here is just play a really basic custom game. I'm not going to change too many settings. I will go through the settings that you can change, and we'll go through the races, but we're going to play a very straightforward game to start. So let's just take a quick look at the races. Terran Union. Originally a series of tree-dwelling pack hunters, the Terrans survived multiple self-inflicted genocides to emerge onto the galactic stage. Their ruling organization is the Terran Union, and despite its name, it's a diverse empire with a propensity for internecine struggles. That is a word I have either not seen in a long time or never seen before. But yes, to outsiders, though, its leadership cast are reliable allies, great negotiators, and mighty opponents. What are the traits of humanity? Again, great negotiators. Militaristic. Prosperity isn't affected if empire is at war, so you can, I guess prosperity might be kind of a positive version of war weariness, so it goes away normally when you're at war. But in humanity's case, not really. Relations with empires with the pacifist trait receive a 4. What's that? Receive a 4 penalty. Feel like that tooltip might need updating. Anyway, don't mean to be critical. Internally unstable. Well, I do mean to be critical, but at this point we're not going to nitpick too much. Prosperity has a penalty of 1. Interesting. So there's some inherent instability. And loyal ally. Relations with allies are improved by 5. Reduces the chances of rebel factions by 25% because they are diverse. All of which is covered in this. Then there's the Khalzur Federation, and I took a look at some of these descriptions, and the Khalzur are kind of, and feel free to read it as we go through. The Khalzur are kind of, they're a religious, maybe religious in not necessarily a fanatical kind of way, because they seem very peaceful, but they are the kind of race that you look at them and you're surprised that they're even in space, because they have just such a simple, organized, kind of religious and pacifist nature. As you can see here, they're pacifist. So that's what's going on with the Khalzur. The Yanaan Commonwealth. This is one of the things that really excited me when I first booted up Dawn of Andromeda. Again, haven't played that much, but look at this. These are a race, a species that can actually inhabit gas planets. How many games, Space 4X strategies, have you played where a race can inherently inhabit gas giants right away? Not as many as maybe there should be, right? So that's an interesting way the game sets itself apart right away. And then, of course, the Orlith. This is your kind of stereotypical enigmatic alien. They're focused on technology. They are kind of closed off to the rest of the world. So they're or the rest of the universe rather. Apparently, they are clumsy shipwrights. So they don't actually have the strongest ships, but they're deceptive in nature. Again, these are the stereotypical aliens, the dome heads, if you will. And then the Aethys conglomerate. Yes, they are a military-industrial complex grown into an empire. So they're kind of they're a more productive society. As you can see, they're hard workers, and they have faster industry infrastructure as a result of their traits. And then we have irreligious, the same way as the Kalzor Federation. So if they run into races that have other religions, relations with empires with the religious trait will be reduced by 5. So they're actually... See, this is interesting. This makes me want to go back to the Kalzor for a second. The description says that they are a theocracy, but their traits say that they're irreligious. Doesn't quite make sense to me. Just want to note that real quick, because it is a little bit weird. So again, early access. Maybe they're still correcting some basic presentation stuff. You never know. Scython Collective, this is my favorite part of this. They're descended from a species very similar to the Terran lemming, but not in behavior, not in appearance, which I thought was just funny. So these guys don't have, again, kind of like the, is it the Orlith Confederation? They don't have the best ship strength, but they are religious, they are hard workers, they are cultured, and they actually also have a bit of a deceptive nature because they have this skill at using their charisma and sarcasm to get others to do what they want. And then finally, the Drekos Order, coming from a planet with an unusually homogeneous genetic background. I'm reading this because I actually don't remember looking at this one as closely. It was understandable that the Drekos Order grew into such a conservative society. Their core values are culture, tradition, and hard work, and given their antipathy to foreign species, they also keep excessively to themselves. So kind of an isolationist species. Lonely nature. Yeah, relations with other empires are reduced by 3. Ulkar Republic. Despite their menacing looks, the Ulkar usually try to avoid conflict whenever possible, and in fact are lovers of art, being great sponsors of poetry and theater. That doesn't mean they're weak, though. They are capable farmers and scientists, and even know how to use their terrifying appearance to their favor when it comes to imposing their will on other races. Read these tooltips in an early access game at your own risk, guys, because I'm having to stumble my way through a few typos here. But anyway, let's take a look really quickly at what you can do to customize your race. I took a brief look at this in my initial kind of foray into the game, which again didn't take a lot of time, but look at this. It's not like Master of Orion Conquer the Stars, or as some might call it, Master of Orion 2016, because there are definitely some new portraits here. You don't just choose from the existing portraits and customize the race. You can definitely bring in new races altogether. And yes, they are animated when you select one. And you also will run into some of these species in the game. So it's not like when you play, you're just confined to seeing the races on the main list back here. But you can also customize the flag. You can change the color, only one color, and you can see it's two-tone, and then you change the logo. So right now it's a pretty simple, pretty rudimentary flag customization system, but the logos are pretty cool, and it's definitely something that can be expanded in the future. Ship style. Lots of ship styles. Not a lot going on with the screen, so it's hard to kind of tell how some of these are different. Like, these look very similar to me. Of course they're different, but maybe more information will be shown here. Maybe different models will be picked. I'm not sure this screen is quite complete, but that's generally what they're going for. You can pick a ship style very much similar to Master of Orion Conquer the Stars. And then finally, trait editing. So here's the total list of traits for you to kind of drink in. We've got great negotiators, militaristic, internally unstable. I'm not going to read through all of these, but we saw a lot of these when we were looking through the initial list. And notice you can just pick 5. So you can set up a race that can live on a number of different world types. And I don't know if this list is even complete, because I only see 2 world types: live in desert planets and live in gas planets. What about living in ice planets? What about living on tropical planets, or what have you? You know, there might be more down the line. And then of course a lot of the other traits that we saw, like internally united or deceitful, deceptive nature, irreligious, religious, etc., are included here. And you can pick 5. So when you have a custom race designed, it actually pops up right down here at the bottom, and then you can load it back up and either edit it or delete it simply by selecting it. It's pretty cool. But anyway, we are 10 minutes in here, and I want to go ahead and jump into gameplay coverage. So like I said, we're going to go with just the Terrans as a basic setup. Let's reduce the number of other empires just to 5 others is fine. So we have 6 players total, just to give us a little bit of space to explore the game's systems. I don't know what would happen if we had someone start nearby. Objectives. What are the different objective types? You could defeat all factions, so kind of a domination or conquest style victory. There's also allied victory, so you do the same thing, but you with friends. Research enlightenment, so scientific victory, and then just survival, which is interesting. You don't see this as much. This might be kind of a score-based victory, but it's not quite the same because, well, I mean, if you survive for 10 years and the other empires are in the game with you and they also survive for 10 years, did you really win or did you all win? So maybe more will be revealed about these particular survival objectives as time goes on, because right now it kind of seems like there's not a lot to them other than just playing the game. And then you can start with a single colony. You can also just start with an expedition ship, so you don't even have a colony yet. We're going to keep things simple and go with the default start, but you can also have a small empire, medium-sized empire, even an advanced empire to start the game, which is really neat. And I do think I want to experiment with that, not necessarily in this mini-series, but especially if I go forward and play the game more on the channel, you might see me messing around with some of those. But for now, just a single colony. And then there's options that are not enabled yet for military, economic, and technological development. Now, what if we did a small... Okay, those are not available no matter what we select. Okay, and then you can actually change eventually the number of starting colonies that you have. But again, brand new early access title, not a lot as far as customizability yet, but promising options. One thing I'll say really quick before I jump in, just looking at the interface, actually I will go ahead and jump in. But the interface is quite clean, and we'll talk more about that as we go. Galaxy size, again, we're going to go with average, but you have tiny, small, average, big, and huge. And I haven't actually messed around with anything larger yet, so I don't know how huge the huge ones is. The huge galaxy size is. I don't know how well it runs. Hopefully well, but again, early access. So if it doesn't, no problem, because that's why we do these things. Resources, common, habitable planets, common, pirate factions, minor races, game difficulty, normal, fine. All right, let's start. While the game's loading, one thing I'll point out that I really, really did like about when I first booted up the game. The game boots fast. Even modern games, I've been playing a lot of Civilization 6, I play a lot of Total War on my channel. Of course, the Paradox titles take a long time to load, regardless of which one you're playing, whether it's Stellaris, Crusader Kings 2, etc. This game loads up fast when you boot it up. It just boots up and you're at the title screen within a couple of seconds, which I thought was refreshing. To guide you through your humble beginnings in your quest to dominate the galaxy... Oh, this is the tutorial. Okay, yeah, let's enable that so we can have some stuff. Originally a species of tree-dwelling packhunters, the Terrans survived multiple self-inflicted genocides. Oh, we've read this already. Okay, cool. Close. Your council... This is what I was talking about with actual customizable governments and characters that have agendas. Your council is the heart of your empire. It is made up, I guess, of 5, now I'm getting nitpicky, 5 council members of your choice, each one with different traits, levels of expertise, personalities, and political inclination. Each character gains experience over time and through certain actions and events, and can level up, losing negative traits and gaining new or improving existing positive... I don't know what's happening there. These traits define their personalities, how they will act towards the Empire, the Emperor, and the Council, and in most cases bring significant bonuses to your Empire. They can become unhappy and threaten to quit, or quit outright, so keeping them happy is very important. Their political inclination plays a very important role in that area. The closest to your current government system, the better. Another great way to keep them happy as well, as gain experience much faster, is to follow their suggestions. Okay, so I guess I'll just close that. Okay, and now we get to appoint our council. We need to pick 5 people, so we have Kuartal Xanthi. Don't know how to pronounce that first name, but I don't know if anyone knows how. This is a born leader. Improves happiness by 8% of all remaining council members. Ooh, but he's temperamental. Sounds like this is someone that's worth having, but maybe Monda the Andens could be a little bit better. Militaristic. So this person's going to encourage me to fight. I feel like temperamental might be a slightly better trait than that. Let's go with that. So we're going to go with that person first. And then what do we have here? I want to try and avoid the red tie, if at all possible, because that's disloyal. It increases the chance of them quitting. So we're going to try and avoid that. Danny Scale, we're going to have, let's see, the charismatic, so bonus to empires, relationships with other empires, words. Xenophobe. Ooh. Oh. These cancel out. Okay, never mind. Screw that. Ogun Sidori, you're creative. Okay. Xenophobe, militaristic. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go with this one because I like that creative bonus. I like the better research. Furi Muhi, farmer, slow learner, militaristic. I like the farming bonus too. See, I feel like I might not have any choice but to select one of the disloyal people. So let's go with Pteroxanthe for that industrialist bonus. Now we have to select 2 more. I will go with Furry as well, just because that farming bonus seems like it would be a good one to have. And then finally, I don't want to go with Danny because this is just a whole bunch of pointlessness. He is a Democrat, so he believes in democracy, obviously. Let's see. Utopic. I wonder what the difference is there. Easygoing. Not following his advice doesn't affect his happiness. Maybe Kenny Muhi needs to be the last selection. Let's go with that. Our civilization can only progress if we research new technology. We should start right away. Let's go to the research menu. To progress our civilization, we need to research new technologies and projects. This can be done by acquiring research points through infrastructure or exploiting anomalies, for example. Note, however, that you can only research one technology, project, or artifact at a time, so choose wisely. Okay, let's have a look here for a moment. There appear to be 3 different weapons technologies, and then some. This is the military technology tree, so you'd expect that. There's also the economy tree, and there's the science tree. So these are. Tell you what, let's go for science first, or maybe hang on. What about economy? Let's look at all of our options. We have a particle beam, heat barrier, extinguisher, shell missiles, and disruptor blasters. So mostly weaponry, a little bit of defense. And then what's an extinguisher do? There are tooltips, thankfully. Again, very clean interface. I like it. Unlocks the extinguisher module and extinguishes fire in the target ship. Research will take 1 year and 8 months. So that's kind of just a accessory technology. Sustainable solar cities is one of the options in economy. Charismatic leaders. Increases maximum influence by 5. I like that, but maybe not as the first project. Solid fuel engines. Okay, so this is, those of you who have watched me play Master of Orion know I like to go for engine upgrades pretty quickly, so that's kind of all on the same lines. Raising the maximum level of farming infrastructure in your colonies by 1. Nanofarm sounds like it might be a good first option. And then speeds up the rate at which new buildings are built by 20%. That also sounds like a good first option. Also, that's 5 months. Yeah, let's go for that, because a lot of these are, well, actually, these are all like 2 months and 1 week. But then some of these policies are, actually, a lot of them are just 2 months and 1 week. Why did I think that it was all like 1 year or more? Interesting. I'm still going to go for this because I feel like the just better building construction will be good to just knock out sooner than later. So let's. All right. So select. Okay, and now there's a queue. So if we wanted to put nano farms in the queue. Okay, 1, 2. So that's the queue. And then I'm guessing if I came over here and put in the extinguisher, it would say 3. Okay, very good. So pretty straightforward stuff. Let's go ahead and close this. You can move the camera by moving your mouse on the borders. Okay, that's pretty straightforward stuff. Let's go ahead and close this so you can see what the game looks like. From this view, you can have an overview of the entire galaxy, including which systems you have visited. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. The faction with the most population in a system controls it. Controlling a system means its owner, no apostrophe, I'm getting really nitpicky, can defend the system freely and attack other units without giving a casus belli to the faction the target belongs to. Again, that's kind of a paradox-esque system, but now Civilization 6 now has that as well. That's something that's becoming normalized in strategy games, which is awesome. You know, a just cause for war. If you're not familiar with the term, casus belli is a system that the game uses to help the player justify their war choices and also restrict their war choices if they're just trying to declare war all over the place. Makes it a little bit harder to just be a conquering player if you're not doing so justly. Provided no pacts were signed that prohibit this, such as a non-aggression pact or alliance. In addition to this, ships repair automatically over time when stationed in a system you control. So finally, let's have a look at the actual game. So just some initial thoughts. This is actually a pretty big system. When you zoom out, it looks a lot like Master of Orion 2016, Master of Orion Conquer the Stars. But again, this is real-time strategy, so time is actually going by in real time. Let's go ahead and... Oh, ship moving and exploring. Each unit can have different... Okay, this is just moving around. Let's zoom in and have a look at our scout here. Beautiful game by every stretch of the imagination. It's a really, really nice game to look at. I've turned on auto explore, so the scout's going to head this direction. If you want to see what it looks like when the scout makes a jump, this is what it looks like. So this is, I immediately began with a Master of Orion comparison. This is a bit more like Sins of Solar Empire, yes. So we are closing in on this neighboring system. While that scout is traveling and auto-exploring, let's go back to Terra and have a look at one of the things that's most exciting to me about the look of this game. Oh, one thing I will point out really quick, especially for those of you who have played Sins of a Solar Empire, one thing that has not been implemented in the game yet, and I hope they implement as soon as possible, is zoom to cursor. I mean, when you have this kind of a zoom system set up, even Master of Orion uses it, I think, as well. It's just very intuitive. Like, and you zoom out, like, if I want to go to Terra, what am I going to do right now, just from habit from playing these other mainstream AAA titles? I'm going to point to Terra and zoom in, but look what happens. It's zooming in on the last thing I had selected. So that's a little bit frustrating. But anyway, here's the planet management screen. In this menu, you can check how this colony is doing in detail, assign a governor, and build ships and stations, among other things. If you need additional info, you can hover the mouse over the items you want to learn more about them. You can order this colony to build a ship or a station. All you need to do is click on the button with the name of the ship design in the unit building panel. So we can appoint a governor. Let's go ahead and appoint... let's appoint the Democrat, Donnie Scale. Select. Okay, and let's go ahead also and queue up a colony ship. Again, this is real time, so notice it's building. I don't have the game paused right now, and it's definitely just being built in real time as we play. And notice, okay, so this is basic housing. This is our initial colony. You can't... Oh no, I didn't want to close it. Apparently if you right click, it closes the screen. Good to know. So this is an actual 3D representation of the growing colony, which I really like. That's something that the other games that I've brought up by comparison don't have. Not even Stellaris has a system like this where you can actually see a representation of the colony. And that's something I've always appreciated in space-based 4X games. I remember playing, and this isn't the best example because it's a very old game, but I remember a long time ago playing Pax Imperia, and of course the old Master of Orion titles as well, I believe might have had a feature like this, but I didn't play those. Pax Imperia, had representations of colonies when you would visit them, even when you would attack them, you could see the buildings. And various games have, well, varying levels of colony representation, but this is pretty nice. So let's have a look. There are 3 tabs down here. This is the unit building menu, which is what we're in now. But we can also go to the infrastructure. To improve your existing infrastructure, you can assign points to your desired infrastructure type, and it will level up over time. Each category brings different bonuses, and since you can only invest 5 points at a time, and investing in infrastructure can be costly, make sure to choose wisely. All right, so we have, let's see if we have a surplus. Right now we have a surplus of 12 credits per week. So tell you what, let's invest in farming. That's taking 2 credits per week. Let's invest in industrial. And let's invest in research, and we'll leave it at that. Notice it immediately updated saying we only have a 5 credit per week balance now. I wish that was not just in the tooltip. I feel like that information, the balance, just needs to be shown as part of the interface. But that's just, it is what it is. And then finally, trading and resources. In this menu, you can choose which resources you want to sell, assuming you have surplus. So we don't have surplus, can't really do anything with that yet. But we can export food to other colonies. Let's say if another colony is struggling for food. So anyway, speaking of that, looks like, see, our scout is very, very busy. They're exploring other systems. Before I take a close look at what some of the planets in the game look like, let's again take a moment to look at the interface here. We have treasury, approval ratings. Again, keeping your citizens happy is kind of important. Food. So is the Empire doing well? Is there a surplus, or are planets starving? And then we looked at prosperity when we were looking at race descriptions. This is the prosperity and the things that affect it. So kind of, again, not to invoke paradox too many times, but kind of a detailed tooltip with some different useful pieces of information. So you can see the influence of some of the games that have those really detailed tooltips in this game already. The interface reminds me a little bit of the Endless interfaces as well, but I have to say I think I like where they're going with this one maybe a little bit more than the Endless interfaces, but that's just me. Research is necessary to unlock new technologies and advance our empire forward, so I don't know what 0 out of 5 means, though. We've made contact with the Mahari clan. Is that so? Where are they? I don't know. And then, of course, influence. This allows us to make certain diplomatic actions that we wouldn't be able to otherwise. Again, don't know what the 1 of 5 means. I guess we'll find out. So it's week 4 of month 1. There are speed controls over here. F1 through F4 are your speed controls, which is a little bit high on the keyboard, but that's nitpicky. So I've used that word enough this video, so I will promptly stop. Oh, here's the... Actually, no, this is a different collective. This is the Scython collective. The Mahari clan has a message. What do we have here? Salutations, Terran. Seems like your systems could use some extra protection. Oh, you're a swindler. We can provide that for a small fee compared to what could happen if you refuse. Do we have a deal? Well, we have lots of money, and it seems like this might be a good idea. 200 credits? Sure. So let's pay them the protection fee. So I don't know the extent to which the animations go beyond just this kind of nodding, but I like the 3D features so far as just the look of the different leaders. So let's zoom in and actually look at, see, I can't, there we go. Now if I'm using WASD, I can move the camera around. That's the best way, but it's tough to, I want to just zoom to the cursor because that's what I'm used to. I wonder if that's an option. Zoom to cursor. Nope, this is the only option list so far. As far as graphics, for those of you curious, here's what they are. I mean, pretty robust set so far for an early access game. A lot of the stuff you would expect, and then finally, audio is just the current volume settings. So let's zoom in on this world. So our main planet is an oceanic planet, Terra 1. Doesn't really look like an oceanic planet, does it? One thing I'll say in general about the game, yes, it looks a lot like Master of Orion 2016. The color palette of the game is decidedly, and I don't say this in any way other than just matter of fact and stating the objective truth. It's kind of a muted color palette. It's not as vibrant. It's certainly not as vibrant as Master of Orion. It's not even as vibrant as Stellaris. There's a little bit less color going on, so it'll be interesting to see. I feel like that's something the community might say a lot. So they'll either try and take it more in a direction to where it's stylized the way they want it to where it doesn't look like those other games as much. So kind of like it is now, but maybe they'll do more to make it look less. I think it can look kind of dull as it currently is. So they're gonna work on it. I would imagine as early access goes forward. But yeah, that's just my initial impression of the look of the game. The Scython greets you. What's this? Who are you and what do you want? We're rather busy, you know. You greeted me. I don't know why you're... Okay, thanks. We have a colony ship, right? Have we discovered a colonizable planet anywhere? Doesn't look like we have. There's a little flag icon that pops up when a world is colonizable. Living conditions impossible. You can also do it this way. You can just select planets and see if their living conditions are good. But it doesn't appear that we've discovered any colonizable planets just yet. Huh. I think our scout is headed to this system, which is right next door to us. So I would imagine, just given the way these games work, since we haven't found colonizable worlds in any of these places, maybe we'll find one there. Is this a nebula? What's this? Cool. Apart from the color, I mean, I might have been a little bit over harsh there, you know, talking about the color not looking great necessarily. The game is beautiful. Like when you zoom in, hang on, I'll let you have a close look at. All right, there's no inhabitable planets. Interesting. This is just one of the stars. Definitely some of the best looking stars and planets in the current 4X space, I think. So commenting on the color is not to say that the graphics of the game are bad. I think they're in great shape, and of course you can be the judge yourself. I don't have a colonizable world near me. This is kind of weird. We'll tell you what, we are approaching the 30-minute mark, so I will go ahead and cut this episode here. In the next one, we're gonna kind of look around for colonizable planet and hopefully find one. Either that, or we'll maybe start a new game to get a little bit of a better start, because it seems like, how many systems have we explored now through? Like almost 10. Not quite 10 neighboring systems, and even the ones 2 or 3 jumps away, I haven't found a single colonizable planet just yet. I wonder if it has to do with research, but we'll figure that out. I'll go ahead and cut this one here. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this first look, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. New episodes in this 5-part Dawn of Andromeda miniseries will air every other day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so stay tuned. And as I always say, comments are very welcome, so let me know what you think, and I'll see you next episode.